Hello guys, this is CryptoWoetoe. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about BTC and where Bitcoin is heading next to, or could possibly be heading next to. We're going to be talking about support resistances, the range, the deviation and wicks that we've seen, the 200 moving average, the fib levels, and finally some CME gaps where these are sitting. And then we're going to end off with a conclusion where BTC could possibly be heading next to. All right, so let's start drawing some support resistance lines. As you've seen, we've been ranging in this range. We've seen deviation and wicks that I'm going to be looking into a little bit later in this video. And first I'm going to be drawing the basic support and resistance lines for you, since these are the most important lines and that you should also be drawing if you want to be buying or selling BTC. So we're just going to be zooming out. I prefer watching the daily candles, which gives the best view in my opinion. And then we're just going to be drawing some basic support resistance lines. Should be around there. Got one more there, and I would say one more around there. So we're currently in between the 25.2 area and the 28.5 area. Now, if BTC is going to be falling below this, we're going to be watching. This could also still be a support. It would be the 24K level. We're going to be seeing probably bounces. I doubt we're going to see a bounce there. Again, since we've already tested it, we're probably going to be seeing then 24K, then a very big range of nothing before we see 21.4K. Now, if this is not going to hold, it probably won't in the end, since we also have a CME gap sitting around here. And so I think the 21.4K doesn't make a lot of sense to hold for the longer run, since we will probably also be feeling the CME gap sitting around there. So that gap will be closed at some point. The question is when. It could also be in a few years, of course. Or it will never be closed, but we've never seen that so far with these kind of big gaps on Bitcoin. They will always be closed in the end. So then the support would be around 19.7K. It would be a wonder if we are seeing this again. That would be a great buying opportunity as well. And I don't think we're going to be seeing this in the near future. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, at least. So what are we watching then? We're going to be zooming in a little bit more and watch this range that we're in with BTC. So we're going to look at the 1 hour candles. It gives the best view. And we're just going to be drawing support and resistance lines again here. Now, what do we see? We see support has been tested a lot of times. Here as well. Yeah, you could also draw it around here. That is fine. And resistance as well in the upper part of this range. So this is the upper part, this is the middle part, and this is the lower part of the range. And we've seen quite some deviations. A big one there. They needed a lot of liquidity to exit their spot BTC holdings. But we've seen this recently as well. That was at the same time that CZ was being sued by the SEC, and they're also coming after Binance and Coinbase. In the end, it turned out to be very bullish because BTC pumped on this news a little bit later after these whales have probably filled their bags and sent the price up on to the higher part of the range, which is a good thing to see in my opinion. And it makes a bullish case for Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin doesn't really care what the SEC is gonna be doing. So if you want to be trading Bitcoin, you definitely have to watch this range. Also be careful for wicks, especially if you're trading leverage. You can get stopped out very easily on these kind of wicks that we see here. Big one there, big one here as well. And we'll probably be seeing a lot more of these wicks. Now, what can BTC do? We can easily do this. It probably doesn't have to happen like this, but I would never be, if you're at the top, it makes a lot of sense to sell your longs and here to open longs. And if you're at the top, to start hedging your BTC positions. We are in this range until broken, obviously, but until then we're just going to be playing the range, I would say. So we talked about the deviation and wicks. These are deviation parts, and we've seen a lot of these wicks on BTC. Now then let's have a look at where the 200 EMA is and the moving averages. I'm just going to be removing the drawings. I will keep the range. Gives a bit of a clear view where we are at the moment. I'm going to be zooming out to the 4-hour chart. So I think these are the simple moving averages. We need the 200-day moving average. So I talked about the CME gap as well, which is sitting quite below. It's sitting around here. We can see it there. If we zoom in a little bit, and we see that this has never been closed around there. So CME open again, and what happens a lot of time is that we end up closing these gaps. So this is a gap, it's closed. A gap, and we close it. Here we close it again, but it has not been the case with this gap, which is sitting from 20K all the way to, I believe, 21K. So it's quite a big gap, and I'm quite sure we will fill it at some point in the future. I have no idea if that's going to be in a week or if it's going to be in 1 or 2 years. That's always going to be the question. So keep in mind keep your eyes a little bit on this. If we're very close to this level, it makes sense that we are going to be closing this gap on BTC. So the 200 day moving average, I think it's a day moving average, is around there. And I want to be looking at the 200 EMA moving average as well. For the 4 hours, that is sitting above at the resistance point that we rejected from again, which is not a good sign. You want to go above these 4-hour exponential moving averages. And the daily was almost being retested. We front ran it a little bit, but it makes sense to use these higher time frame exponential moving averages. That makes sense. So we retested it. That is actually a bullish sign. So no real bearish. Of course, we've seen lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, but you could also see it that we have just been retesting this daily exponential moving average. For now, BTC will just be ranging and not so much will probably be happening in the meantime. But these are obviously good levels to watch if, for example, we will see a liquidation event where BTC price keeps plummeting. And then these are a lot of the times very good areas where BTC can bounce off from. I would never use this as the only indicator, but you can mix it with, for example, drawing support resistance lines and also with the Fibonacci levels. Now that is the last thing I want to be showing and watching if we have any interesting Fibonacci levels that we should be watching. Personally, I do like the Fibonacci levels a lot, if it works today. Let's have a look. So this is the beginning of the move. And actually, we almost perfectly retested this 382, which we front ran it a little bit. Would have been better to test it perfectly. It also makes sense with the big support at 25.2K that we might still see. And that is also a very good confluence for a next move up that we are retesting this 0.382 Fibonacci level. We could also be drawing it from here. This could also, you could also say this is actually the start of the run, and in that case we perfectly retested that 0.382 Fibonacci level, which is a very bullish sign so far. You don't want to be falling below this this point. I could see the price then going to the 24K area that we talked about, that support, or even lower. But in this case, I think if we are gonna see the 22K area, that we are also gonna be closing the CME gap for sure, almost. Yeah, this is from this move up. We also retested the 0.5, so it's actually it was quite useful in this case. I didn't trade on this actually. I longed a little bit later, but for now this is still a very bullish sign. However, I don't want to see the price falling below the 25.4 area. We need to stay above this place. So for now, I've seen, yeah, the chart doesn't look perfect. We've seen lower highs, and lower lows. However, we have still a lot of bullish confirmations. For example, the retest of the daily exponential moving average. The Fibonacci levels so far are also still bullish. So where can we see BTC heading next to? Personally, I don't think we are done with this move. I think we're going to be seeing a higher BTC. Just to clear it up a little bit. Now, obviously, we've tested this area, which was a resistance area. But also, if we watch the CME gap, so we've got the CME gap sitting around there, which is not filled yet. But if you look here, there's also a CME gap which is not been filled yet, which is at 36K. I personally think we're going to be seeing something like this. This should be the bottom. We should have tested it, or we go one more time, test it one more time before going up, and then have some resistance there, maybe test it one more time before moving up more to the 35K area and possibly the 40, what is it? This would make a lot of sense. These 45K area. But that is all in the future. It also depends obviously on the news that's going to happen. But in the end, or it may take a little bit longer, I think we'll be seeing these at least 35K regions. Also, we've got a lot of untapped liquidity sitting on the BTC chart, which is also interesting to look at. And that's the final thing I'm going to be talking about in this video. So obviously there are a lot of shorts in the market, and many times when we see these shorts, they have never tapped the liquidity above where the stops are. So if you just think about where these stops of these shorts are, then we see so many unhaunted stops that there's a lot of liquidity up higher, which also gives me the feeling that we are going to be breaking through that liquidity. Even if we are going lower afterwards, it makes no sense for BTC to not have use this liquidity, which is sitting up higher. I hope this made some sense to you. And I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Please note that this is not financial advice. It's just my own view, and I tried explaining it the best for you. I hope to see you in a new video on BTC or other altcoins. And you can also join my free Telegram group. Please also subscribe, and I hope you have a very nice day. Goodbye.